Hey everybody, that was my version of a TikTok dance because today's kitchen table talk is titled, Is TikTok Ruining Therapy and Therapists? So, one of the forces at play in our contemporary culture that I believe threatens therapeutic skill building, curiosity, deep and critical thinking is the growing movement and popularity of super short form content found on platforms like TikTok, Instagram Reels, and others that will be coming soon. Why do I believe this? Well, in her paper, The Politics of Curiosity, former podcast guest Eva Maria Swidler argues that the first thing to go in the increasing speed brought on by modern capitalism is curiosity, that we are all under assault by what she describes as time poverty. Whether it be 15-second Instagram stories or 280 characters on Twitter, any communication that we are trying to do in well-meaning efforts like activism or transformation and change increasingly are being squeezed into meaningless spurts with no impact or function. Because deep curiosity requires attention, presence, and alertness, ideas, critical thinking, healthy debate, and communication, and even the mental health education folks are trying to do on these platforms are at threat of co-option and paradoxically the production of incuriosity. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but if I wanted to limit any kind of effective argument or your ability to articulate a case for change, rather than taking your speech away, I would just limit your ability to think it through, to say it, and limit who gets to see it, turning opposition into meaningless hot takes that get algorithmed away. I'm just saying. Jay D'Arrigo and I have written about 3 emerging threats to curiosity that are being created by mental health professionals on these types of platforms and elsewhere. And the first is instant psychology. In short, this is the rapid diagnosing and pathologizing of people and problems that is so common now on all social media. Here is a great example of that in action.
Gee, I hate when the floor's wet after the shower. That's a trauma response. Yeah, because it triggers the memory of when you slipped out of the womb. I don't think that's your attachment style speaking.
Funny but true. The second emerging curiosity killer on these platforms is what we call instant sociology. This is where we attempt to socio-educate folks about larger systemic realities in the spirit of social justice and activism. All good and well-meaning, but this approach, absent of curiosity, leaves us susceptible to colonizing folks we work with in a countercultural way, which has the potential to produce the same kinds of harms that historically have been created and perpetuated in modern and traditional psychologies. Finally, our third curiosity killer is what we call instant revisionism. Here, events, experiences are rapidly reinterpreted through a specific ideological lens, often the same ideological lens that the reviser or therapist ascribes to professionally and personally. As therapists, because of the experience of time poverty, we are seduced regularly into interpretation of events, experiences, and people's motivations. You can see this all over social media now, which often leads to a reductive closing down of possibility, potential, and people's own meaning making. So what do we do as therapists that want to maintain and reinvigorate curiosity in our practices? You probably think this is where I rant about getting off these platforms. Listen, I'm not an anti-social media person. As a matter of fact, many who are close to me often hear me preach how social media is a powerful tool for visibility and the expression of ideas free of gatekeepers. I mean, you're watching this video now, right? Lots of positive things have happened for me because of my engagement with social media platforms, and I imagine the same for you. However, Eva Maria Swidler suggests that if we are going to build a joyful militancy to counter a world of disappearing attention, aimlessness, idle distraction, the 3 instances I just described, and often what we find now a deliberate ignorance, we need to recognize that curiosity is an emotional, moral, and political state in desperate need of cultivation and tender loving care, and that it is being threatened. So maybe the real question here is, or real questions here are, how can we bring about more curiosity to how we engage in these platforms or with these platforms? What would my engagement with these platforms look like if I led with more curiosity? And finally, what practices support curiosity in my own life and therapy practices or practice? Something to chew on. And since you made it this far in this video, I have a couple announcements that I wanted to make. I am starting what I'm calling coffee and consults that you can access through my Patreon page. $20 a month. I'm going to be meeting with a group of people twice a week on Wednesdays, 9 a.m. on Pacific Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. For $20 a month, you get a couple hours of consult with other people, hearing other people's questions. I'll show video of my own work. We'll do training, et cetera, something to think about. Link somewhere. And the second announcement is tickets are now for sale for the Radical Therapist Gathering, September 10th at the Grand Central Art Center Theater in Santa Ana, California. 5 CEUs available. Lorraine Headkey doing a Theater of the Dead, Theater of Death, I think. Improv guru Gary Ware is going to be there, and myself and Jay D'Arrigo doing work about stuff we were just talking about. So September 10th, the Radical Therapist Gathering. Please join us. And as always, stay curious, friends.